The Blue Jays might be about to pull off one of the sneakiest moves of the entire offseason. And honestly, if this goes down the way it's being reported, Toronto is getting away with highway robbery. We've got confirmation from multiple top-tier sources that a specific starting pitcher is not only available but actively being shopped, and the proposed trade package is so lopsided in Toronto's favor that I had to do a double take when I first read it. Let me set the stage here. A few days ago, Jeff Passan dropped a bombshell in his massive offseason article. Kodai Senga is extremely available for trade this offseason. The Mets right-hander has 2 years and $30 million remaining on his contract. Now, this wasn't completely out of nowhere. A Mets beat writer had hinted at this a week or two earlier, but Passan confirming it makes it official. The Mets want to move Senga. Then, last night, John Heyman went live and added even more fuel to the fire. He said the Mets are actively engaged in trade discussions involving Kodai Senga. According to Heyman, Senga has a strong market and is expected to be moved. So now you've got two of the most reliable reporters in baseball both saying the same thing. This isn't speculation anymore. This is happening. Now, remember what Ross Atkins said a few weeks back during his offseason press conference? He mentioned that the Jays had already been involved in trade talks for starting pitching. At the time, we didn't know who they were targeting. Fast forward to now, and multiple players have become available through trades. There's a very real chance the Blue Jays are involved in the Kodai Senga sweepstakes right now. Here's where it gets absolutely wild. A new article just dropped proposing a specific trade framework, and when you break down the value here, this would be an absolute steal for Toronto if they can pull it off. We're talking about a Mets-Blue Jays trade involving two change-of-scenery candidates. Kodai Senga to Toronto in exchange for Yimi Garcia. Wait, let me correct that. Yariel Rodriguez. Senga for Rodriguez, straight up. Let me explain why this is borderline robbery from Toronto's perspective. The Mets signed Senga to a 5-year, $75 million deal. Yes, he's owed $15 million per year for the next 2 seasons, but look at what you're getting. In his rookie year, Senga was legitimately elite, one of the best rookie pitchers we've seen in years. Then he dealt with injuries last season, only making 1 appearance in the first year of that deal. The year before his rookie campaign, he posted a 2.98 ERA. Now, he did struggle down the stretch last year. His final 8 starts showed a 6.56 ERA, but somehow he still maintained a 3.02 ERA overall for the season. That's remarkable. Yes, some of his advanced metrics declined in the second half. His stuff plus numbers dropped. But we're talking about acquiring a pitcher with proven elite upside for a guy who couldn't stick as a starter and became increasingly unreliable as a reliever. Let's talk about Yariel Rodriguez, because this is the key to understanding why Toronto should do this deal 10 times out of 10. Rodriguez had a decent start to last season. He showed flashes as a reliever early on, but he struggled badly as a starter, and by the second half, he was basically unplayable. He gave up a ton of hits, couldn't get through innings efficiently, and became a liability in high-leverage situations during the playoff push. From Toronto's perspective, you're selling low on Rodriguez, there's no question about that, but you're also buying relatively low on Senga, who's coming off an injury-plagued season with a rough finish. The difference is that Senga has shown he can be a legitimate frontline starter when healthy, while Rodriguez has never proven he can handle a starting role at the major league level. The article notes that from the Mets side, this trade helps them add bullpen depth and clears a rotation spot for more starting pitching. They're clearly looking to reshape their staff, and moving Senga's contract gives them financial flexibility. For Toronto, you're getting a pitcher with 2 years of team control who, when right, can be one of the better starters in the league. Now, I want to address something important here. Would Senga be that ace, that number 1 starter everyone wants the Jays to acquire? Probably not. But Ben Nicholson-Smith has reported that Toronto is willing to pursue multiple starting pitchers this offseason. So you could potentially land Senga and still go after a Roki Sasaki or a Ranger Suarez. You could build depth while also adding that frontline arm. Keegan Matheson mentioned on my show a few days ago that the Jays are probably going to make a trade nobody sees coming, similar to the Jose Berrios trade or even the Matt Chapman acquisition. Senga fits that profile perfectly. He's not the sexiest name on the market right now. He's coming off a down year, but the upside is tremendous, and the cost in terms of what you're giving up is minimal. Think about the current rotation construction. You've got Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, Shane Bieber, Treya Savage. If you add Senga, that's 5 starters right there. And you could still reasonably pursue one more impact arm. Plus, who knows what version of Treya Savage we're getting next year. All signs point to him being dominant, but there are always questions with young pitchers. And what happens if Barrios struggles? What if they move him back to the bullpen and he opts out after this season? The Jays need to prepare for the next wave of rotation turnover, because after next season, Bieber becomes a free agent, Gausman becomes a free agent, and Barrios can opt out. Having Senga under control for 2 more years at $15 million per season is incredibly valuable when you consider where starting pitcher salaries are heading. Rodriguez's contract also factors into this. He makes $6.5 million in 2026 and about $7.6 million in 2027. He has some team control with a buyout option built in. But when you compare what each pitcher brings to the table, Senga is the clear winner here. Yes, he finished with a rough stretch, posting that 6.56 ERA over his final 8 starts, but maintaining a 3.02 ERA overall despite that collapse shows how dominant he was for the bulk of the season. I do this deal every single day of the week. I'm not going to hedge and say 9 out of 10 times. I'm saying 10 out of 10 times. You're upgrading your rotation without giving up premium prospects, and you're moving a reliever who couldn't consistently perform when the games mattered most. To be completely honest, I'd probably even give up a top 15 prospect for Senga if that's what it took, because starting pitching is that hard to come by. Let me know if you agree or disagree, because I'm genuinely curious if people think I'm overvaluing Senga here. Feel free to pause and read through the advanced analytics in that article, because they do show some decline in his metrics during the second half. But for Yariel Rodriguez, you make that swap immediately and don't look back. Now let's shift gears to some other news that dropped today regarding Bo Bichette's market. Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon reported that the problem with finding a shortstop this offseason is that so few quality ones are available. They mentioned that the Braves claimed someone off waivers, and that Boris Epstein would likely consider any early offer for Ha-Seong Kim. But here's the most relevant part for Toronto. According to Rosenthal, free agent Bo Bichette does not appear to be a possibility for Atlanta. Many teams, knowing Bichette's defensive metrics are among the league's worst, no longer view him as a shortstop, so you can cross the Braves off the list of potential Bo destinations. Now, love him or hate him, Rosenthal is one of the most connected reporters in baseball, even if he does occasionally put out some questionable takes about Canadian teams. The Red Sox are still reportedly in the mix for Bo, based on yesterday's reporting, but the market is clearly not as robust as some people expected. If teams don't view him as a shortstop anymore, that significantly impacts his value and the size of contract he can command. This could actually work in Toronto's favor if they want to bring him back, because his asking price might be more reasonable than anticipated. Bottom line, if the Jays can swap Yariel Rodriguez for Kodai Senga straight up, that's an absolute robbery. You're getting a pitcher with legitimate ace potential when healthy for a reliever who couldn't find consistency. You're adding rotation depth without surrendering top prospects, and you're positioning yourself to still make another significant pitching addition through free agency or trades. This is exactly the type of under-the-radar move that could define Toronto's offseason. Let me know what you think of this proposed deal down below.